Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karva Vahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahaihi. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Okay, so we finished verse 28 of chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita. And the last verse, 28 that we did, it was talking about the infinite bliss that the meditator enjoys. So the English translation was, the yogi always engaging the mind thus, in the way Bhagwan has said to reach that state, in the practice of yoga, freed from sin. So all the negativities are gone from his mind, easily enjoys the infinite bliss of Brahman contact. And then we had gone in detail what Brahman contact meant. That there is no such thing, and technically it's not Brahman contact, but you become one with the Brahman. So with that in background, we go to the next one. So next one is how does this person, view the whole world and himself? What is the relationship? That's going to open up over here. And the similar thought has come in chapter 2 already, when Arjun had asked, how does this self-realized person interact with the world? So this is in this along the same lines, and you will see. So here is a verse 29. Sarvabhutastad atmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadharshanaha. Sarva bhutastha, abiding in all beings. So it is like Krishna Bhagavan has mentioned this same thing in many different ways, and we will see what it means more detail. Atmanam is the self. Sarva bhutani, all beings. So that includes everything actually. Material, non-material, in the sentient world, everything like humans, animals, plants, and non-sentient also. Cha is and, Atmani is in the self. Ikshate means sees. Yoga Yuktatma, one who is harmonized by yoga. This word has come many times, Yoga Yuktatma, when you unite with the higher. Sarvatra, everywhere. Samadarshana, this is a very important word, one who sees the same everywhere. From what perspective, we'll learn that. So let's see what the different points of this are. So first one word I was talking about, Yoga Yuktatma. So one who has attained the fulfillment of yoga in the highest state, because that's what Krishna Bhagavan is describing. And you can call it one who has attained the Turiya Avastha. Somebody wants to use different words, means well established in it. Not going in and out of it, but well established. And then when we talked about Sthita Prajna's Lakshan, or characteristic of man of wisdom, they call it the one who is established in that wisdom. It never gets away from it, never shakes from it. That's what it is. So then what happens to this person is, whether he's in meditation or with open eyes, he doesn't get disturbed still. Because usually in the early stages, what happens is, when we are in meditation, then we are very calm and quiet. Then we open our eyes, and then all the sansaric thing disturb us. But what they're talking about this person is, even after he opens his eyes, he doesn't get disturbed, because that vision is so strongly established in it. So how do you explain this stage? So, Nikhilanandji, he loves the example of sleep, right? So see if you can connect. It cannot be a perfect example, but if you can give some idea what happens. So he was describing that, samjho, I'm feeling very sleepy, right? I'm really tired and sleepy. So I'm trying to sleep. And at that time, somebody disturbs me. So then I wake up again. I say, oh, please don't disturb me and all. Then I again try. And, if some noise comes and something happens and I get disturbed, it's in the light chalu kar di. But one stage comes in sleep where I am so sleepy, I just slip into the sleep, and it's a very, very, very deep sleep then I get. And then if somebody puts light on, somebody disturb, nothing bothers me. जैसे हिंदी में कहावत है ना, घोड़े बेच के सोना. Or English में भी कुछ होगा, some kahavat like this, or sleep like a baby or something. My baby is very tired. You can take them to the rock concert, they'll still sleep. Some of them. Something like that his stage is talking about, that when it comes to that in the meditation, okay, you are, trying to meditate, or something is disturbing. We saw that some thoughts can disturb, some sanskaras can come inside and disturb us. But one who has crossed all of that, made his mind absolutely pure, then, so what Krishna Bhagavan has said, if you are having that problem that you are getting disturbed again and again, then again and again shift your attention to the self. Remember, we did those verses that do that. So continuously doing that. So then once you cross all that and go in that, establish in that self, uske baad, there is no need to close your eyes also. So technically, those people, once they get Jivan Mukta and established, they don't need to sit in meditation like we do and practice. They are meditative that's what it means actually, because when there's a confusion, what does it mean people are in meditation all the time? How can that happen? Now you know what, it's a subtle subject, so that there's a subtle way of thinking that how they get established. Okay, so what the way he explained is that this person is in samadhi all the time, and then little more we will review that what happens. So in the beginning, we have to withdraw our attention and from the world but once somebody recognizes the self, so recognizing and realizing is the same word, and again it's a subtle way we have to understand is that means once we recognize it, we know that the world is the expression of the self. That's what happened. It's not like when he opens his eyes he doesn't see the difference. No, he sees everything, but he knows what is behind it. It's something like the ocean and the waves. The waves finally realizing that I am H2O and the entire ocean is H2O. So when the wave is looking at the foam or looking at the bubble or looking at whatever, hey, this is H2O only in different forms. So that's how it happens. So in that person ka kya hota hai fir? Wherever his attention goes, he sees self. That never goes away. So Nikhilanandji loves the example of space, and I thought he gave a very good example. So he's saying, suppose it's like space. Suppose I don't know what space is. Just think that for a minute, I don't know what space is. So then what I need to do is, I need to shift say I take a small pot, and there is an empty pot. So I have to shift my attention to the center of the pot. Hey, this is called space. And then try to understand what it is. And then once I understood the whole space, then I see it everywhere. Wherever my eye go, I see the space. So it's not a perfect example, but I thought it was a very good point. So he's saying similarly what happens to the realized master is once he's established in the self, he looks at the world and sees self alone. Nothing but the self. So this word ikshate it means he sees. So somebody say, what does he see? So then the way Krishna Bhagavan describes in his verses is, it says, Sarva Bhutani cha Atmani. He sees his own self in all beings. First he recognizes who I am, and then he sees all of them. And then what he's seeing is, this is a process. So first he sees that, okay, that same self is in myself, in my body. And then, I am in all. That's why it says I am in all. It's like the wave realizing, hey, H2O is within me. And the same H2O is in all. So there is another way of expressing it, that I am in all. When he says I am in all, what does it mean? That's what it means. It means I myself is the whole world. So he's saying, what Swamiji was saying is that just imagine, just thinking like that is so fantastic. Main hi hu. This is not some kind of arrogant statement, but it is more understanding statement. If you want to see the similarity in the whole world or the sameness. So he's saying that, when you say realization and recognizing that it's the same thing, I myself and all. So now, from that state of realization, Bhagwan is when talks. Because, this question, lot of people ask, hey, how come Krishna Bhagwan say, bow down to me, do namaskar to me? If you don't study Gita properly, you think it's some kind of arrogant statement, Or how can Krishna Bhagwan is to just, a body like us? How can the whole world be in me? Hey, he's talking from a different perspective, So this is a very important thing. So in the 9th chapter, we have not come across that, but, just bring it. 7 also, he says that he says, look, Arjun, I pervade this whole world. That's how he describes it, right? So Swamiji was saying, Arjun must have looked at him and said, how can he pervade the whole world? He's sitting on my chariot, So because most of us think of a person as body only. That's the problem, okay? We have to go beyond that. But, so he's saying Bhagwan was not talking about the body's perspective, he was talking about the self perspective or a consciousness perspective or that way. So don't think of it as a body. Because body is only restricted in one place, whether it is Krishna Bhagwan's body or Ramchandra Ji's or us. If you're talking about body, this is what happens, just say one place. But then he explains it to him, because obviously he must have seen that question on Arjun's face. Hey, I pervade this world by my unmanifest form. So that's the most important thing, because there are things that we can see with our own eyes, with our own senses. There are things we cannot see with our own eyes. They are beyond, they're sukshma. Unmanifest is when a thing exists, but I cannot see it. I mean, there are certain things, for example, the air. Neither I can see, a hearing, yes, I can say I can hear the air because when it makes noise, I feel it on my skin, right? वो भी जब बहती है हवा तो, so even among the elements, not everything we can see and all that. Even space is a hard concept, but we know it is there. So then basically what Nikhilanandaji was explaining, that not even an atom is devoid of it. And if somebody is having a difficulty in understanding this, then we can see that space is pervaded everywhere through the atoms also. And space has come from that consciousness. And consciousness is even more pervading than the space. So it has to be everywhere. That's another way one can look at it. And that's why there is another statement that Krishna Bhagwan has made in the following chapter to come, that the world exists in me. Other way he's looking at it now. It's like the ocean saying, everything that you see in the ocean exists in the ocean. Bubbles and foam and, what you call waves and everything. Small wave, big wave, same way, from that perspective he's saying. So they are, in Bhagavad Gita, there are these two statements they always talk about. As we go, chapter 9 mein kafi detail mein aayega wo, that I exist in the world, Krishna Bhagwan is saying, and the world exists in me. You see which perspective you are looking at, both the statements are correct. And so another way of explaining these two sentences are, there is no difference between the world and me. Because in the beginning of the sadhana, you are like, the world is there, this is me, I got to do the sadhana. But this self-realized person comes 180 degree around, he comes and he says, oh, the whole world is same. मैं और मेरे दुनिया में कोई फर्क ही नहीं है, like that, okay? So that's what he was explaining. Nikhilanandaji explained that in the beginning, we say God is in the world, but when we understand the nature of God, then we say God alone is. Have you heard of that statement? There is nothing else but God. So God alone, that's how they say. Because God is everything. There is nothing other than God. That's another way you can look at it. Whichever way your mind connects to it. But what happens is when we don't understand and recognize God, that's the only time we see the differences. So now don't forget about it, that व्यवहार में difference दिखाई देगा. They're talking about the essence of everybody. That's all they're talking about. So what they're saying is that shift your attention away from the differences to the God principle. That's actually the purpose of religion. Religion's purpose is not to say mine is better than yours and fighting and this and that. Each religion actually at the core of it is saying that everybody is one and God is one, like that, So this is but unfortunately all kind of bad things happen. So what he was saying is that when we recognize God, then we see him everywhere. So that's why this particular yogi that he's talking about, the meditator, sees in all his own self in all being. So, if you want to expand this vision, basically this person, this yogi, Yuktatma, he looks at the world, birds, animal, plants, human beings, then he sees his own self, and he knows that I myself is in all. So, hey, how do you explain this whole concept with some example? They have, all the saints and sages, they have many examples. So he said, okay, just think of when we are dreaming, what happens? All of us have dreamt one way or the other, and some people have vivid dreams, some people remember, some people don't, but we all dream. There's lots of people we see in the dream, animals, birds, we can see anything, right? Buildings, you name it, everything. And then suppose suddenly in the dream, you come to know that, hey, this is just a dream. Suddenly you wake up and you realize that it's a dream. So then you will suddenly say, ye sab kahan se aaya? Where did everything come from? Hey, it come from my mind only. My mind created everything. I was pervading it. Everything was pervaded by me and everything was in me. See that? How it is? So this dream example is very, very, very good one. In fact, our teacher used to say, sometimes we don't know why we see dreams. He said Bhagwan wanted to give a little hint about the world. So he gave you dreams. So now you can analyze it. So, and then another way to look at it, when Bhagwan says, no, everything merges back to me. Remember, those statements are there in Bhagavad Gita. So when I'm seeing the dream in my sleep, and then when I wake up, where did the dream go? Where did it disappear? It merged back into my mind, right? So again, you can explain that. So, and then same exact way, the realized master is the one, he looks at the world as his own self, just like we see the dream as a part of us. And then Bhagwan says one more way to Arjun to explain this concept. He's saying, I am that Atma residing in every being. So that's another way we can say that, because there are different ways to explain the same concept, depends on what touches your heart, So then, now he's talking about this meditator. Once a meditator knows this very thoroughly, established in this knowledge. Now he's sitting and closing his eyes, seated in meditation. So then in that meditation, sitting in one place also, he will see the entire creation exist in me. And when he looks at the creation with his open eyes, then he sees that in everything I alone exist. Both ways, whether he's sitting closed eyes or with open eyes, he sees the same concept. So that's why there is a sentence that we use a lot, in Bhagavad Gita. I am in all and all is in me. Both ways. दोनों तरफ से पकड़ा है उसको, okay? And the same vision was indicated to Arjuna in chapter 10 and 11, which I have talked before, when I did the summary of Gita, and other times also I talk about it. Because in chapter 10, Bhagwan tells Arjun that I am in all beings, because Arjun had a question that, hey, you're telling me all these things, great, but I have to still go and fight the war. I have to open my eyes and deal with the world. How do I see you in it? So then he gives example, hey, I'm in everything. And then Arjun after that, he said, Yeah, but I also want to know, you keep saying that everything is in you. I want to see that too. So then he showed him the vision in chapter 11. So this 10 and 11 together completes this whole idea about I'm in all and all is in me. I'm just giving you a preview of what is going to be coming. So here what they are talking about, the yogi is the one, that yogi means that yuktatma. He is the one who attains this vision and he looks at the whole entire world as himself. So another example, brilliant example, Nikhilananji gave to explain this concept, because sometimes we still may have doubt, how can this be? So he's saying, okay, just look at our own body. And he's saying that I kind of pervade in myself in this whole body, right? And suppose somebody comes with a pen and he says, I want to poke this pen in your body. I just want to do it on your little finger. Usse kya farak padega? You said, no. Wherever you poke, I'm going to feel the pain. Right? Why? Because I pervade the whole body. I thought that was a brilliant example. Right? It's not like, koi saman la ke aur koi bhi kone mein rakh do, koi farak nahi padta. No, wherever you do, it's me only. Padega farak. That's what it is. So to me, that example is very, very good, because I know that I exist in my entire body, in every cell of my body. It's me only. So whether I close my eyes, meditating, I just know the fact that, I am in and through this whole body. It's me only. So this is exactly how now I expand this to the whole universe. Okay. So this yogi recognizes himself, and then he become aware of the whole cosmos, that it is one only. So then basically क्या हुआ है कि उसका विजन एक्सपैंड हो गया. अभी तक वो मेरा तेरा करके ऐसे छोटे से इसमें अपने मन में बैठा हुआ था. Now his vision has expanded beyond. And he's saying that when he say beyond, we are not talking only about the earth. Entire solar system, galaxy, millions of galaxies, everything. Because the essence is the same. And then he's saying that sometimes, we say, oh, ye lok, swarg lok is different, and nark lok is there, and patal is there. And then realize, master, know that in all lokas also, it's the same essence. Sometimes the people differentiate, okay, earth is mind, and they start differentiating with others. Unme wo bhi difference nahi hota. That is another thing. So he will realize the very essence. And then another very, very important thing he said, when people say, भगवान को बाहर ढूंढने की जरूरत नहीं होती, अपने अंदर देखो वगैरह वगैरह बोलते हैं ना, we don't understand what exactly they are saying. We kind of know, but we still don't know. So what he was saying, that the secret of the universe, you don't have to go to another planet, another galaxy, और यहाँ भागो वहाँ भागो या कोई तीर्थ स्थान में भागो. If you want to go, fine. It inspires you, go. All he's saying is that your sample is within us only. That's what he was saying. That, I am part of that whole universe. So if I study what is within me, I'll understand the secret of the world. For example, the wave and the ocean, the wave want to know the secret of ocean, so it doesn't have to travel very far. Say, hey, what am I made of? Oh, it's H2O. That is what everywhere it is. You see how you make the connection? That's why they say that first recognize yourself and you recognize the whole universe. That's what exactly. So that was very well, he explained that. So this person who has completely established in this fact that self alone is in all and everything is in me or in self, उसका साथ क्या होता है, वो सर्वत्र समदर्शन हो जाता है उसका. His vision becomes same everywhere. He sees the same truth, same Brahma in all. And there is a bhajan that I don't know if any one of you have heard it. It's a beautiful bhajan which says, Ye sarva Brahma hai, ye sarva satya hai. I'll send it. Kisi ne gaya hai. This is what it is from this verse, Samadarshan. So, for me, what happens when I see one object from the other, I see the difference. Outwardly, difference is there. But even scientifically, if I start going deeper, I will know that the same atoms are there, right? atoms in each thing, and then I will see the same. But in this particular context, even animate and inanimate things means things that are sentient and non-sentient. Sentient is like plants, animal, what you call humans and all that, and others are like insentient are rocks and all that. उसमें भी उसको भगवान दिखाई देता है. That is this is like a really huge samadarshan. And then Tulsi Das ji, it says, Meera ji, probably she will listen to the recording because she could not come today. It says very famous line from Ramayan of Tulsi Das ji, Hari Vyapak Sarvatra Samana. That's exactly the Samadarshan. So Hari is Vyapak. Hari means he's talking about the God, consciousness, truth, whatever you want to say it. Is Vyapak means all pervading. Sarvatra means everywhere. Samana means same. So the exactly same thing is in Ramayana also. And so in conclusion, Atma, when they talk about Atma, it's not a tiny little thing, but it's all pervading. And it is a very substratum of the whole cosmos. So everything exists in it and it exists in everything. That's the whole thing, to sum it. And he's saying that this is the vision that the one gains who is a realized master. And he's saying when you say yogi word, in the modern language, somebody using yogasana is yogi. This America mein bolte, oh, falana is yogi, all he's doing is some asanas. That's not a real yogi. According to Bhagavad Gita, is one who has this samadarshan. And then the next verse mein wo batayenge what is the relationship between us and that Brahma, or us and the Ishwar, with the same concept is going to be explained in another way. So that's going to be the next verse. So this was this particular verse. Any question, comment? आज क्वेश्चन पूछने वाले नहीं है यहाँ पे, तो किसी और को उसका रोल लेना पड़ेगा. Anil ji is not here and Meena ji is not here. Sometimes if you have any kind of comment or doubt or something regarding this and you say it, then it opens up for other people also. So don't be bashful if you have something to say.
I think becoming a meditative 24/7 is the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah, and then we should understand what that meditate. It doesn't mean that you just sit under a tree. That's not what they are mentioning. They are saying get established in it, in meditation, and then see the whole world in me. So that's why the people, naturally those people who are very, जो समदर्शी होते हैं वगैरह वगैरह, when they have nothing to do, they will close their eyes and meditate, but they don't even actually have to do that. Because when you say you are in meditation all the time, meaning you know the facts so well, it's like the wave knowing so well it's H2O that it never forgets it. For us, right. The problem is when we go in the world and we get sucked into our problems and all, and we forget. And that's why these saints and sages, we had mentioned it before, they never put anybody down, no matter how bad they are. They will try to, they see them as themselves only. Like in the world we say कि अपना कोई बच्चा बिगड़ गया है तो हम उसको, we don't get rid of, we try to help. And then in your own body, because we see samadarshan in our own body, one part of our body is not functioning properly, the whole rest of the body helps them.
Right.
Yeah, same way.
But what I see that to even go into that direction, not to go in, actually to accomplish something in that direction, you need to have some quality of non-judgmental quality, or one need to develop that quality to an extent that they become almost non-judgmental in any situations or any conditions. At the same time, simplicity helps because that would prevent you to deter from materialism. And so such a such a large qualities needs to be strengthened out, which we all have it, but we don't become part of it sooner. I mean, somewhere here and there. So if we develop those qualities, then it would be easier because your mind is already reduced that much of turmoil of the big judgmental to everything and big criticizing to the every situation or any person. So what do you see? I think we need to develop that.
Yeah, of course. That is, because this we are in chapter 6 now. Remember, there were 5 chapters that came before that. And Krishna Bhagwan already addressed a lot of it, and it will continue to address. And it will, the what qualities we have to develop is going to, continue in the later chapter in much, much more detail. Very subtle qualities that we may think we don't have abhiman, we don't have ego, and then we'll analyze it. No, it is sukshma mein hota hai fir bhi. And once you have to keep cleaning, and then so whatever you're saying definitely is part of it. And we are right, only 1/3 up to right now. What he's talking about, the highest vision. So we have a lot more to learn about that, but your thinking is on the correct line, Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a saying in English, they say, even walls have ears.
Mm-hmm.
Insentient. So
Absolutely.
how you have to be very careful, For ages I've said treat everything nicely, even your walls, your house or whatever.
Oh yes, I had one lady told me very nice thing. She said कि her father कोई चीज खराब हो जाती थी ना, समझो कोई machine छोटी या anything, or you have to throw something, right? So he said he won't just throw it like that. He will do namaskar to that thing and thank you for serving me. Means it's like acknowledging, like हम लोग ऐसे फेंक देते हैं, as though this thing is like nothing. But no, it has served you, and like you said, Bhagwan is in everything. So there are people who go to that extent also, to keep their...
Everything becomes old and useless, like we become also old and useless.
Our body,
yes. We are discarded,
Yes.
We are treated very well,
And also, whatever our material, what we are made up of, is recycled for other people.
Oh, that goes back to wherever it came from.
Yeah, and then somebody else uses it. They makes their body up.
Nothing but that. Mm-hmm. We are that.
Yeah. So many different things open up in this, definitely. Anybody else? Who's going to be my readers? My readers and my
I have the Geeta other book.
Yeah, you can do the other one. So maybe, here, Neeluji.
Yeah?
Yeah, you can read the next one. Neeluji can read this, yes.
The mind harmonized by yoga, he sees the self abiding in all beings and all beings in the self. He sees the same everywhere. So nicely written, so easily understood.
See, now you're getting the hang of how Krishna Bhagwan speaks. See, that's what is happening.
All religions in the world are great, but indeed, none of them is as perfect as the religion of the Hindus. If by religion we mean the science of self-perfection. In this stanza, the author of the Geeta says, in unequivocal terms, that the perfect man of self-knowledge or God-realization is not merely the one who has realized his own divinity, but is also the one who has equally understood and has come to live in an intimate knowledge and experience of the divinity inherent in all creatures without any distinction whatsoever. Such a big line.
Yeah. I will, once you finish, your paragraph is over?
No.
Okay.
The awareness in us is the awareness everywhere in all the names and forms, and this divine awareness is the very essence in the entire world of perceptions and experiences. To contact the infinite in us is to contact the eternal everywhere.
So whatever I explained in detail, that's what he's talking about. So the journey starts with, first I am trying to find out who I am. And once I know my essence, then I realize that that same essence is everywhere, exactly like what I said, that the wave realizes H2O. So to understand H2O, all it needs to know and know itself. That's what it is. It's the same thing. It's then you will know the entire cosmos.
To a true man of realization, in Hinduism, there is no more a world to be addressed, even if it be in divine compassion, by the disgusting phrase, O ye children of sin, like Ramatirtha, a Hindu saint of perfection, could not but address the entire living kingdom as, O ye children of light. This idea of the consummate revelation of God I am, gained by the meditator, is the peak of perfection endorsed and aimed at by the Hindu seers. This idea has been most effectively brought out in this stanza.
So he just, saying that how sometimes some of the other religions, the way they approach human beings, that, they focus more on you are born in sin. So now you have to get out of it, things like that. इधर हम लोग को उल्टा बोला जाता है. Hey, you are the children of light. See the difference? That you are that God yourself. You just don't know it. That's all it is. So there is and somebody made a very interesting line. They said, usually we say, oh, I am a human being having a divine experience, right? And they say, no, you are a divine being having a human experience. So that's exactly what he's talking about here. Your attention is shifted to who you really are. And then I think that विवेकानंद जी ने ये मैसेज आके दिया था यहाँ पे. We all are, essence में we all are divine. That's why all we have to do is remove our negative things, and the self shines. And you can see in the world the people who are very, very kind and nice and then all that, because they just have less negativity in them. वो कोई भी चीज को देख के they don't, start judging, and like, how Mukesh ji was saying, that's the first thing they stop. Criticizing, judging, and things like that,
That this pluralistic phenomenon is a manifestation of and a projection upon the immortal truth is very well brought out in almost all the Geeta chapters. Thus, the essence in all the names and forms is the same transcendental self. Just as the mud in all mud pots, the gold in all gold ornaments, the ocean in all waves, the electricity in all bulbs, the self is the essence and the substratum in the entire world of objects.
So those three all examples, we have used it so many times in the class, right? And now everybody understands that the mud is, common in all the mud pots, no matter what it is. So if the one mud pot says, oh, I'm so beautiful, so you may be a name and form, but inside you're the same, same way, gold and ornaments, and we know all these. Yeah. And somebody was saying that electricity, when it comes to the essence of electricity, there is no such thing as Indian electricity, Chinese electricity, or American electricity. It is electricity is the one which illumines the bulbs everywhere, or other does other thing, computer, whatever, So that's what it is, yeah.
Through the physical body, we perceive the physical world, and from our emotional level, we perceive the emotions in others. So too, from our intellectual level alone, can we intelligently contact the ideas working in other intellects. As it has been asserted in the previous chapter, when an individual transcends himself beyond his intellect, he comes to rediscover his own divine nature. From that spiritual center, when he looks out, he finds the self to be pervading everywhere. The meditator, on transcending his intellect, become the self, and to the self there is nothing but the self everywhere. To the mud there are no pots, to the gold there are no ornaments separate from itself.
So this is very nicely explained. So it's like we have different layers, right? So if one person is looking from the body perspective, then we'll start judging. Or I am thin, that person is fat, or that person is healthy, I'm sick, whatever you want to say. So that is body. Now, emotional perspective, we also connect to people, our families, our friends. That time we rise above the body, it's an emotional level. So then I connect from there. Intellectual level, connecting with ideas. Like you go to this scientific conference, they can be from any corner of the world, they suddenly start speaking the same language. Because it does not matter. See, that's intellectual level. So now he's telling you to go one step above. That from the soul level, from the Atma level, from the consciousness level, if you're looking, that's when you see everybody the same. So it depends on what level you're. When we say, everybody is same, we have to understand from what perspective they are seeing. But what happens is, when we see from that higher and higher perspective, that's the time we will not judge. That's the time we will not criticize. That's the time we will feel in harmony and we will see oneness. So from the highest perspective, the mud is saying, hey, I don't see names and form, I see mud everywhere. Hey, that's all I see. So that's what it means. So very important to understand this subtle meaning behind how they are explaining it.
With this understanding in our mind, the stanza becomes quite clear when it says, he beholds the self in all beings and equally beholds all beings in the self. Such a perfect one, who has realized the actual unity in the world of diversity, alone can afford to entertain the equality of vision in all circumstances and conditions. On a noble Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a pariah.
So he took this sentence from another chapter 5 verse 18 में उन्होंने कहा, उसका explanation इस वर्स में अच्छे से समझ में आता है कि वो all circumstances, all condition में समदर्शी कैसे होता है, because he is looking at from the highest perspective. Yeah. And that's when the true compassion comes in your heart. Otherwise, it's not going to come. When you see differences, the compassion doesn't come. When you see oneness, then the compassion comes.
There's one more line on the next.
Yeah, you can read it.
Now will be described the effect of this perception of unity of the self.
So in the next verse, he is going to talk about further. It's the same concept, but looking at it another angle now. Okay. From the cosmic angle he's going to look at. So we'll see that next time. But any question or comment on this whole, it's a very beautiful concept, right? Yeah.
Very poetic way of explaining also.
Yes. That, everything exists in me and I exist in all. That's what it is. It's unbelievable, Because if you just hear like that, it sounds contradictory. But now you know the real meaning of it.
The concepts are coming.
Yeah, concepts are coming. So when we go to those words, that chapter, you will know immediately what they're talking about. And then there is other way of looking at it is that because this world is considered like a projection on that substratum, right? So you have, remember the example of the rope and you see the snake. Okay, so you are saying, hey, they are actually one only. I exist in the snake means the rope is existing. Uske bina to ho hi nahi sakta. And the other way around also, everything is just actually rope. Mujhe dikhai de raha hai wo snake. The same way, everything is that Brahman, but because of, the way the play of Maya and all, I'm seeing. And, I'm experiencing. I'm just enjoying. So that's how we have to look at it. Any other comment, question?
It's very difficult, when we see murderers, rapists, and all, I mean, they are made of the same stuff, but still it's very difficult.
Yeah, it's there are the saints and sages who work with these people, because when we look at, we see how much harm they have done and we get very upset and all that. It's not like they are not, saints and sages are not saying don't punish these guys. That's not what they're saying. But they are saying that they can be reformed also by giving them this kind of knowledge. And what these people do, they go to all the jails and all that, and they take all these inmates who have done heinous crime, and they try to work on their mind, talk to them, show them some meditation techniques and all that, whatever they can do at their level, if they are open to doing it. And then after they have calmed their mind, they talk to them and say, what do you think of what you did? And most of them will start crying and say that, I don't know why I did it. It's just so, they realize the gravity of the situation, and that can transform them.
But for saints and sages, it's easier than for ordinary people.
Yeah, for us, we can't go that far. That's why there's a difference between. So what he's saying, tum saint bano pehle. Fir tumko, from us perspective se. Lekin at least we can do a similar thing with people around us. If somebody is doing something really bad that you don't like, instead of, like what Swamiji used to say, Chinmayananji's favorite sentence was, hate the sin, not the sinner. That's what it is.
That is good.
Yeah, so that, hey, whatever he's doing is a bad thing, and make him realize, but you cannot make him realize by, just completely disregarding his other part of him, which is his soul. Make him connect to his soul. That's what they're trying to tell you. So sometimes, like people say that, hey, how does Geeta help in, all this world? But if each individual studies it, become a better person, that's how the society becomes better. See what I'm saying? So what these guys are doing, they are trying to, bring some spiritual ideas into these people's head. Because, just leaving them to rot in a jail cell, that's not going to be good for them or anybody else. In fact, some of these people who are completely transformed and all, they become spokesperson for other people. They come and tell them that, hey, don't be like this. I was there once and it only did this and now I changed, blah, blah. So they look at it in a more positive way to bring the change. That's what it is. Even these terrorists and all that, we get so upset with them and all that. But the saints and sages, they said they are also victim of their some own circumstances, own this thing. So they go and talk to them, and a lot of them drop their weapons, they change. Like I think Shri Ravi Shankar does that a lot. He's gotten many, many awards for that, and it's a phenomenal work. हम लोग कोई दूसरे तो जाएंगे भी नहीं उनके पास. I mean, how daring it is that he will go and speak to those people. Because he wants to, find out that, hey, why are you doing what you're doing? And then teach them, some good stuff so that they stop doing it. Any other point anybody has? Comment, question? Okay. Then I'm going to close Bhagavad Gita here. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyah mokshayishyami ma shucha. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.